Emilio.
What's slowing you down? The Wi-Fi? I got just what you need. The King of Cheese, our house Parmigiano Reggiano, and a very special Parmigiano Reggiano aged for 36 months by Giorgio Crevero.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Were we talking Parmesan? First things first, let's clarify exactly it is what we're talking about here. There's Parmesan and there's Parmigiano Reggiano. Parmigiano Reggiano is an Italian cheese from Reggio Emilia, and it is name controlled. That means that there's actually a governing body determining certain criteria that absolutely have to be met in order for the cheese to be called Parmigiano Reggiano. Some of those criteria are that it needs to be made in that region, that it needs to be made with raw milk, that it needs to be aged for at least a year. A governing body establishes and says, if you're going to call it Reggiano, it has to meet these standards. Only then does the word Parmigiano Reggiano get emblazoned on the rind, and that's what you should look for if you're looking for the real deal. Parmesan has very few controls, and it's often made in Wisconsin, sometimes Argentina. It can be made pretty much anywhere, but Parmigiano Reggiano is the real deal, and that's what we're talking about here. Because the restrictions are so tight, let's say you're standing in a supermarket looking at a wall of pre-cut cheese and you don't know what to get for your dinner party tonight. Reggiano is actually one of the best choices you can make because you know the laws are so strict that at the very worst, you're going to get a very, very good cheese. We have two different levels of Parmigiano Reggiano at DeBruno Brothers. There's the export quality, which, believe it or not, is what they say is their best. If once it gets to a certain level, they say, this is what we want to share with the world. They export that one. There's export quality. That's our house. And then for a few dollars more per pound, there's the Giorgio Crevero Parmigiano Reggiano. Giorgio Crevero is a fifth generation affineur. An affineur being somebody who matures cheese until he determines is in absolute peak condition. Giorgio is unique because he's actually buying Parm from a single herd of cow and maturing it at his facility in Bra. While the cheese does have to be made in Reggio Emilia, and it is, he selects what he determines to be the best from that, brings it to his facility in Bra, where the temperatures and humidities are just right to coax some more subtle natural flavors out of the cheese that you don't get in most Reggiano, and certainly not in Parm. Everybody thinks of Parmigiano Reggiano as this inexpensive cheese you can kind of throw around. This is absolutely one of the greatest cheeses in the world. Something you can snack on straight, a little prosciutto, and really enjoy life.
Parmigiano Reggiano is known as the King of Cheese because it's one of the most important cheeses in all of it. It is used as currency for the cheesemakers to fund their loans through the Bank of Reggio Emilia. The Bank of Reggio Emilia has about 440,000 wheels of Parmigiano Reggiano in its two vaults in Parma. Parmigiano Reggiano comes as a natural rinded cheese. And one of the most common questions we get is, can you eat the rind or should I cut the rind off? And we say, my grandmother always told me, make sure that nobody throws the rind away. We keep the rind, we put it in our soups, we put it in stocks, or she puts it in her gravy. Something cool and interesting to know about Parmigiano Reggiano is that all the Olympic athletes from Italy travel with Parmigiano Reggiano as their snack. They eat it all day long, and that's what gives them their energy.
There are two very common grating cheeses in Italy. Up north, it's Reggiano. Down south, it's Pecorino Romano, which is salty and oily and very, very strong. Reggiano is the opposite. Reggiano is nutty, it's sweet, you get some tropical flavors in there, believe it or not, and with just a little bit of salt in the finish, that's why it works in just about any application. Most of the cheesemongers at DeBruno Brothers will tell you that Parmigiano Reggiano is always in their fridge. The reason for that is because it's incredibly versatile, it's something you can snack on or grate, and it's relatively inexpensive, usually around $20 a pound. There aren't many alternatives that taste as good for that price, but if you're looking to expand your horizons, try Piave, which is usually $1 or $2 less per pound, a little bit younger, a little bit softer, more for snacking on than for grating, but still a really tasty alternative. Parmigiano is a very durable cheese. It's usually aged around 2 years by the time you bring it home. We wrap it in paper in the store, put it in your crisper drawer. That's the best way to keep it.
How would you serve this cheese?
We're going to build this board. I would add prosciutto di Parma aged balsamic vinegar, and dried figs. With your leftovers, I would just take the Reggiano Parmigiano and shave it over prosciutto wrapped asparagus drizzled with a little bit of balsamic vinegar.
Whiny, this party is coming together. Now that we have our cheese, let's go find our perfect wine pairing. First stop, Wine School Philadelphia.
Your cheese, your Wi-Fi, your need for Parmigiano Reggiano. All right, that's a little much for me, but I will help you out on this. It is like nitrous oxide for wine. Those flavors, right, that are just kind of hidden behind view, you add the right wine to that, it is going to turn that wine into a freaking rock star. Well, the first thing I want a big monster wine. I want something that usually you wouldn't want to drink. Something that is so bitter and so intense that it kind of rips the enamel off your teeth. Let's pick up a Bordeaux, because that sounds fancy, right? Bordeaux sounds awesome. But what I really want, right, is that grape that's in Bordeaux. Bordeaux is this little town in France, surrounding vineyards. But they grow a lot of Cabernet. So there's one little area in Bordeaux called the Médoc. And these wines are awesome. Big, intense, beautiful wines. And if you're spending about 15, 20 bucks, you're gonna get a really good one. These things are so intense, especially when they're young. You pop it open, you taste it, you're like, Jesus, that is too much. That's way too much of a wine. Well, there's things like there's tannins, right? There's bitterness, there's compounds they love one thing. They love proteins and fats. And they will sort of, like, in your mouth, if you have enough proteins and fats with your cheese, it's just gonna kind of make out with each other. That's my favorite pairing for that reason. Parmesan, because it has all this fat and proteins, it's very, very dense. It also has this, and it's also this really old cheese. And old cheeses start to break down. And their amino acids kind of turn into this almost like soy sauce quality and crunchy. It's like little bits of meth in your cheese. And you bite down at just happiness. I love that, right? It's this tyrosine, these amino acids that are just little, and you can see it in the cheese. We'll pop it around a little bit. Just pop around just this wee bit, and you bite into that crunch, and then you add that Bordeaux next to it. All of a sudden, the Bordeaux is no longer bitter and intense. It's actually soft and supple. It kind of rises up and turns the cheese this creamy unctuousness, and then the wine just becomes pretty, floral, like flowers. And also you have this really beautiful fruit flavors just sort of rise up. And so this combination of Bordeaux, specifically the Médoc, and Parmigiano Reggiano, oh God, I love that. I love that. This pairing, absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Keith. Now on to our next stop, my favorite local vineyard, Penns Woods Winery, for their recommendation. Because hey, you can never have enough wine.
Think globally, drink locally. I read it on their website. It's pretty catchy. Off we go! We're not really walking anywhere. Shh.
Welcome to Penns Woods Winery. We are in eastern corner of Pennsylvania, town of Chelmsford, in the beautiful Brandywine Valley. We found the perfect pairing for Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, and it is our Chambourcin Reserve 2015.
And Chambourcin is a French-American hybrid. It is very popular on the East Coast. It has almost like a pomegranate, a lot of rich berry flavors, a little bit of an herbaceous note on the finish, but completely dry palate-wise.
It was put together in 80s in France, and from France got to grow all over the world.
The growing of the grape, it is a colder climate grape, so it does very well in the Northeast. It can withstand the cooler winters that we have here. Another reason you don't see it grown in California on the West Coast, they've got a warmer climate, so it does tend to do really well where we are located. Chambourcin pairs very well with a hard, nutty cheese. Definitely something that we would recommend to pair it with.
The body is really thin, but with a lot of structure in the front palate. Usually, the Chambourcin have like really short finish.
Now that we have everything, let's call up the gang and head over to our favorite spot, Thirsty Dice. Guys, thanks for coming out today for our wine and cheese party. My day has been the worst. My Wi-Fi has been ridiculously slow.
Yeah, that's the honest worst.
I absolutely cannot stand it. All day today, same.
Especially at work. Like, okay, I say especially at work, but it's even worse for Netflix or Hulu or any of my. I don't have cable. I'm streaming
No,
everything.
who has cable?
Yeah, right?
No, but when it like kind of flows but kind of doesn't, and everything's just blurry, you're like, is this supposed to look like that? You just don't know.
It's finding its way. It's finding its way.
We all are finding it, I guess.
It's just the worst is when you have like that little bit of hope, like it unfreezes for just a moment, and you're like, great, okay, it's working, and then it just
When Netflix stops at 97%.
Well, I'm really glad that we were brought here to talk about So Internet, but I'm even more excited about the wine. Can I drink it yet?
Not just yet, Chris. Since we decided to have our party at Thirsty Dice, the legendary board game bar, I figured why not kick off our party with a fun wine and cheese pairing game.
Okay.
I like wine, I like cheese, and I like games.
Wine. I love games. Go.
We have a Parmigiano Reggiano cheese from De Bruyne Brothers and 3 mystery drink pairings, 2 wines and a beer.
Okay, I'm excited.
All right, I do.
Can we go?
Some beer.
Should we just try it?
The rules are simple. Try the cheese with all 3 beverages and pick your favorite pairing. Participants, start your engines and make the best pairing win.
Okay.
I think we can handle this.
I think this is my new favorite game.
Yeah.
Cheese. 1, 2.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
You're gonna judge me if I finish it?
Doesn't matter. You've already done it.
Really good.
All right, I'm ready. I can make my decision. I'm good.
Okay, what did you pick, Chris?
I definitely like this first one.
That is the Omedoc Bordeaux that we got from Keith from the Wine School of Philadelphia. So something really fun that we learned is that it is a scientifically pleasant pairing. The fatty proteins of the cheese really adhere to those bold, rich tannins in the Cabernet. That bitterness in flavor actually now turns into a nice, smooth, fruity, floral flavor, which is really nice. It's science.
Yes, thank you, Keith, for your wonderful science. I've got a bone to pick with this guy. I'll tell you about it another time. It's science.
No, I have always been a man of science. Good job, Keith.
So I'm gonna pick glass number 3. I clearly like that since it's gone.
What you picked was the coffee porter. So we all love our wines, but cheese can be paired with a variety of different beverages, and sometimes a beer can be better than a wine. But really, we just included this option for you, Frankie, so I'm not surprised you picked it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it was a tough choice. I really loved both wines a lot. I think though I'm gonna go for the Cabernet. It was really good, really cut through with the cheese.
So I'm actually going to have to disagree with Chanel and Chris. I loved the second wine. I'm not sure what it is, but I thought it just tasted so great with the cheese.
Barb, I am so glad you picked this pairing because I know how much you love supporting local businesses. You picked the Chambourcin Reserve from our friends over at Penswoods Winery. Interesting fact about this wine is that the grape itself, though grown in France originally, is a Pennsylvania vineyard staple because of how well it grows in our northeast climate.
Huh.
Explains why you liked it so much, Bob.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like in our backyard. It's so cool that that's just right around the street.
Right.
Well, thank you guys. Now let's all get wasted!
Whiny!
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Wine and Cheese. Now, let's talk about all the products that were featured in this episode and how you can buy them for yourself. Parmigiano Reggiano export? or Giorgio Corvera Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Just click the links here to purchase them directly from the De Bruno website. Now let's talk about the wines. We have the Omodoc Bordeaux that Keith recommended, and you could get that at any local liquor store near you. If you want to try our featured local Pennswoods Winery Chambourcin Reserve, just click on the link right here to purchase it directly from the Pennswoods Winery website. If you want to build a board just like you saw in this episode for your wine and cheese party, you can purchase the Prosciutto Rotondo Dolce, the aged balsamic vinegar and dried figs from the links in the description below, directly from the De Bruno website. Everything we mentioned is also linked in the description below, and you can click to buy instantly from their websites. If you love wine, cheese, and the magic of a good pairing, you have to try everything mentioned in this episode. It is absolutely amazing. Get some for yourself, or get some for your next wine and cheese party at home. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell to receive notifications so you never miss a new episode. Go to our website to read more about this episode and to find local specialty cheese shops and local vineyards near you. See you next time.
Thanks for watching Wine and Cheese Episode 1. If you like what you see, click the like button at the bottom of the video. Also, if you don't like what you see, click the like button at the bottom of the video. Remember, if you don't have anything nice to say, click the like button at the bottom of the video. Mom says click the like button. She says that. That's a thing that she says. Okay, can we roll the credits here? Yeah, so there's this guy, Keith. I hear he's been talking shit on me. What does he know? You know, okay, yes, he knows a lot, okay? He's a scientist, I get it. But I'm a puppet.